Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
And go.
Welcome, quite possibly, the best podcast you've listened to since the last time you listened to us. This is the Board Game Snobs.
Why do you say quite possibly?
Allegedly, the best podcast. We got nominated for the Golden Geek Award. We didn't win. That's fine. But the fact that our people voted for us is very kind. And we thank you for taking the time.
Much appreciated.
To use the very...
Spending your precious Golden Geek monies.
The very user-friendly website.
The original Bitcoin.
Board Game Geek.
Do you find Board Game Geek... Oh, sorry. We have a special guest with us today, Tyler from Chicagoland. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me, you guys.
And if you're a regular listener and possibly in the fantasy football league of Board Game Snobs, Tyler was the manager, the head honcho. He was the... What's the guy's name? The commissioner. Commissioner Gordon.
He commissioned the league.
If only your name was Tyler Gordon, that'd be really nice.
I know. Sorry to disappoint. I know.
Do you have a dog?
I do.
Okay.
I do have a dog.
I hear him barking.
Wait a minute. I can tell a lot from people by their dog.
Oh.
I'm going to guess that your dog is a small dog, right?
He is a small dog. Now, my dog isn't barking right now, but there is a train going by. I don't know if that could be what you're hearing.
Oh, I don't know. I hear something.
Small dog.
It kind of sounds like water dropping. There's something in the background, but that's okay.
You have a beagle.
Close. He has beagle coloring actually, but he's
What's those Scottish Terrier?
He has a long back.
Oh, is he a corgi?
Dachshund.
Dachshund, the peasant of the corgi crew.
A Wiener Schnitzel. I love Dachshunds.
Yeah, they're awesome dogs.
One of my first clay figurines that I made was of a Dachshund.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I made it for somebody who loved Dachshunds, and they wanted they just wanted a Dachshund. And so I had to make the hair of a Dachshund. So I looked up at
Hair of the dog.
Yeah, hair of a dog. Which, fun fact, the only dog to have ever bitten me was a Dachshund. So
they can be mean.
They're mean. They are mean wieners. And so I looked up thousands of pictures of Dachshunds to be able to sculpt what I felt like was a very nice clay figurine of a Dachshund. How did we get off on this?
We asked him about his dog.
Your dog's name, your Dachshund's name is what?
Howie.
Howie, like Mandel.
Yep.
You named him after the worst host ever.
Not after Howie Mandel, but we have a strange thing where we like to name our pets after presidents, and he was kind of tangentially related with William Howard Taft. So, went with that with Howie. But I mean, there's other naming stipulations within my wife's family. They have dachshunds that their names all start with the letter H. And so we had to we wanted to go within that kind of tradition too.
So many rules.
I know. I named all my cats. Me and my wife named all our cats after people from The Office. My favorite.
It's not that weird, Gabby.
My favorite cat was Halpert, followed by Shroot. It was very nice.
I have no such rigorous rules for the naming of my animals.
Your cat is awful.
How dare you?
I hate your cat.
He's a good cat. He kills moles all the time. No, he's talking because when he wants food, he lets me know, and then he eats, and then he tells me that he wants outside. That's called talking. He's talking to me.
Everybody knows your cat whines so bad.
He was on one episode where you could kind of hear him, maybe, and I don't even think you could.
Anyways, as fascinating as this is, the names of your whining cat.
I didn't even say Rio. Shout out to Rio.
Please. Tyler from Chicagoland, who sent us multiple emails of his child, his newborn baby.
That's right. I remember the first photo. I said, that's a handsome couple. And he was cradling his baby in his arm.
The forearm.
It's kind of like a football.
Yeah.
Well,
it's weird.
It was a small child.
It was kind of.
Those were newborn photos. Yeah. They always make you do the weird poses like that,
Did y'all do the pregnancy photos?
We did.
Yeah, those are weird too. I don't know
Those
why.
are also weird.
Yeah, that's very odd. Where you
have to like put your hand on her belly or something.
Yeah, you do something and you put your
ear to the belly.
Yeah, it's
like it's talking to you.
Yeah.
And all you hear is like gurgles and bubble noises.
That's exactly what a uterus sounds like.
Noises.
That's exactly what
I don't know what a uterus sounds like. I don't put my head to pregnant women's bellies all the time.
I'm just saying, you'll hear the ocean, or at least the motion of it. So you're an SLP there in Chicagoland, and an SLP. Give us the DL on SLPs.
ASAP.
It stands for speech language pathologist. It's a overly long job title. We're more commonly known as speech therapists, and neither one, like speech therapists, a lot of times with that title, it's a bit like people view it as overly simplistic, or people don't take it seriously enough. Or when you go with speech language pathologist, people are like, what? That's a mouthful. I have no clue what you're talking about, But there's no good job title for us, it turns out. There's just no good way to describe it.
You're a word doctor.
Sure.
A wordsmith.
Okay. All right. I like that.
So do you specialize in any particular aspect of pathology with the speech? Is it for helping people who've had strokes, aphasia, the diagnosis of
stutters,
autism? Was that the doorbell? Someone ring the doorbell?
I kind of heard that.
I heard a doorbell ring. Someone's at your door, Gobby.
I better go check.
Go check. Take the bat with you just in case it's that angry FedEx man again. Gobby has been accosted several times by a random FedEx worker, and so he's very frightened to answer the door now. UPS he's fine with, but he sees those FedEx trucks and it gets real shaky. Anyways, so do you specialize in anything particular with SLP?
I do. It would be way too hard to just, treat everything within the field. It's, like a 2.5 year grad program. So there's a lot of different areas that we work with. Usually so I work with adults. I work with adults in an outpatient clinic setting, but I work for a weird company that does outpatient house calls. So it's like home health, but it's billed as outpatient therapy. And I go to a lot of different assisted living facilities in the Chicago area, and I go to people's houses too whenever there's orders that people's doctors give. Yeah, so I mainly work with adults, and that involves working with people that have had strokes, people with dementia, people that have had brain injuries or cancer or what have you. Usually that's my typical case, though. Other like neurological degenerative diseases like Parkinson's, Huntington's, things like that. So I work with adults.
Yeah, the company I work for, we contract a lot for speech therapy, and I find it very interesting because I don't think one of my favorite shows that I often point people to, which is now leaving me, The King's Speech, about the stuttering and all that. And I used to have a stutter, which crops up sometimes.
I do too.
At random times. And
really?
And my own weird verbal tics and I pick up on those from other people, I guess, because I'm hypersensitive towards my own, so I tend to be listening more towards others when they speak. Where am I getting off on? Oh, I'm going on about how interesting it is, not only speech patterns, but how we take speech for granted. It's fascinating how quickly we can talk without really putting a lot of effort into thinking, I guess you could say. Like, it's so natural, especially our accents, how we enunciate, and how there's such a vast difference between people. How you can tell how well a trained speaker is, or somebody who does a lot of public speaking, or somebody who's had any type of training in that, or at the same time, people who've had various other, whether it be brain injuries or strokes or things of that nature, how that affects their speech is all very fascinating.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it really is. I mean, people don't know, you just take it for granted. And when you contrast it to something like physical therapy or occupational therapy, people understand that more. It's a little more concrete when someone has trouble with like walking, or they lose their abilities that way, their mobility, it's more concrete. People understand why they need therapy more. And then, when it comes to speech therapy, it's just a lot harder. It's more abstract. And it's also something, like you're saying, it's easy to really take for granted. And it's hard to really realize all the complex processes going on with communication, right? Especially communication. That's the part of my job where it's probably the most complicated, is like dealing with someone that, say, has aphasia and they have trouble with like either understanding like understanding what they're hearing or what they're reading, or they have trouble with expressing themselves, whether it's verbally or over text.
Now, that's something that I find to be of interest, where I have often, it's a struggle not only to be able to get people to understand what you're saying, but at times to communicate with people in a way that's not only brief, but fits their style of listening. Is there anything that you have noticed in terms of just in your practice? I guess when it comes to communicating with others, is there some sort of thing that is probably, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I have been caught up in this thing here lately about how we listen and take in information and how we process it and then hand that information off with others. I've been listening to several podcasts about brevity, about public speaking, but also about organizing thoughts and information and being able to present it.
Apparently, you need to listen a little more.
Well, what I found though, and to that is that speaking and being able to convey not only thoughts and feelings is not something that is. It takes practice, but it takes preparation. And I find that, of course, there's people who do it better than others, but to be able to have a true conversation with somebody, to be able to formulate your thoughts, say what you got to say in such a way, and then be able to switch that off and listen, that to me is fascinating. Do you, in your studies with as an SLP, is there anything that you notice just in everyday life with people's speech patterns or how they deliver or take in information that you find odd?
I find odd. Not really. I mean, what you're speaking to there, that's a very advanced skill that I would say most people don't do the best. And it is more of a realm of like, that goes more into the cognitive side with like your executive functions and how well you're organizing your thoughts and how well you're able to divide your attention. I think that even goes beyond the linguistic realm and more into the like your executive functions and reasoning in the frontal lobe of your brain. And I don't have any sort of tips as far as how to improve that.
But speech, that's from the occipital lobe, correct? It's in the back of the brain, correct?
Speech, well, not the occipital lobe. It would be more from areas that control motor movement, like the cerebellum, but then also like areas of the frontal lobe, temporal lobe.
Cerebellum, I love their music. They'd change their name though.
And so how does, for instance, you sent us an email we were discussing about with Bruce Willis when he had quote unquote aphasia, which technically, I mean, we read your email and was going over that a little bit. And I mean, of course, that goes over most people's head.
Remove your hand from your mouth. So you're blocking your speech patterns.
No, I'm not blocking.
It's podcasting 101.
Ah, I see. You're an audiophile.
I am.
Your aphasia. Just delve into that a little bit, especially using the example there with Bruce Willis.
So aphasia is disordered language, basically, boiled down simply. But it's not that simple, obviously. It's like aphasia is disordered either understanding of language or use of language, expression of it, which then that can be split into verbal and like verbal expression and written expression. And it can also be involved with auditory comprehension and reading comprehension. And depending on, now aphasia isn't just a disease within its own right. That was part of what didn't necessarily bother me about the Bruce Willis diagnosis announcement. It was just like, okay, that's part of the picture. Why does he have aphasia? And not that the family needs to, obviously it's their right to hold that private, but aphasia does not happen without, or it doesn't just happen on its own. Something causes it. The main causes are stroke or brain injury, traumatic brain injury, or head or neck cancer can cause it. Or other types of cancer like leukemia or like blood cancers can cause it. Also, it could be caused by a neurological degenerative disease. And one of them, so that could be like Parkinson's, that could be a form of dementia. It can happen with Alzheimer's, especially in later stages, or it can happen in a type of dementia called frontotemporal dementia. And that is actually, if I were to venture a guess, I think that's what Mr. Willis could have, is frontotemporal dementia, particularly a subtype that's called primary progressive aphasia. His family was talking about how they characterized it as aphasia that's impacting his cognitive abilities. And that's the other piece. Aphasia doesn't mean that you're going to have impaired cognitive skills. You're not necessarily going to have impaired memory or problem solving or attention, right? That's what leads me to think that it could be that he has one of these dementia types that is then causing the aphasia. It's also causing cognitive impairment.
And with that, just a normal average everyday person, what would be something that they could do to improve perhaps in their own speech, their own clarity?
How to help with your own clarity. One thing that I would recommend is to a lot of times people will drop into vocal fry. They'll go way down here, right? They got this kind of it sounds kind of staticky, right? Try to speak with your own, like, as clear a voice as possible. Don't try to like force it and make it sound like either like super low if you're a man, you're trying to get your really deep sounding voice. Just trying to have a nice and clear tone, nice and easy is always good. When it comes to just being an effective communicator, that's where you also go into the areas of like trying to be concise, trying not to ramble on, trying to, organize your thoughts well. Those are kind of main things that I would recommend to people.
And all that kind of falls into also the executive functions. I mean, when you branch into like ADHD or anything of that nature, being able to put your thoughts in order, be able to spit that out in a meaningful way, and communicate in a way that's the intention that people are picking up on the purpose of your speech. That's difficult. And I think that's fascinating. The more I have learned on that particular topic and how that's done and what makes somebody an effective communicator, you don't realize how much talking is useless until you've keyed in on that.
Most of this podcast, not this episode.
Right. But at the same time, people enjoy certain level of small talk or banter.
Chit chat.
They enjoy that to a degree, which is fine. But when you're actually trying to convey, and you can tell when the tone switches, when you're trying to convey a thought and get a expression or something of that nature that's in the back of your head and get it out to somebody else to where you're trying to make them understand what exactly you're describing, that's very difficult. And I've just been, the more I've read up on it, the more I've listened about it, it is become very evident now more than ever when I listen to various podcasts about who is an effective communicator and who isn't. It's kind of odd, especially in just everyday
Do you
life.
feel you're an effective communicator?
No, I have an actual. I am if I'm prepared. Like if you give me a topic and say, explain this, whatever it might be. Yeah, I think I'm well above average.
What about long pauses? Do they count towards that?
Long pauses?
Yeah, because I edit out a lot of pauses.
Well, it's because I'm thinking.
Ah, okay. As you're speaking.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is something you might attempt, because what you'll find is instead of having...
I oftentimes just can't think what I'm trying to say.
Right. Which is also one of those traps where you can fall back on platitudes or just saying something to fill dead air. And that's part of it. Yeah, that's part of it. And like, it's interesting that that's, yeah.
Gotcha.
I gotcha. Yeah. And it's something that you often go on about podcasts that you listen to.
They're terrible.
This guy's
Most of them are terrible.
Which is awful for you to say such harsh things at people.
Most podcasts are terrible. At editing, you need to edit a bunch of stuff out.
Well,
a lot of people don't. There's a podcast I listen. You were talking about this vocal fry. There's a I listen to Slash Film. There's one of their editors, and they've been podcasting a long time. They're like but they're journalists. He talks like this, and like his voice. I cannot listen to it's his actual voice, but I don't know if he can. But he can when he can speak more forcefully, and he's fine. But when he first starts talking off his talk, it just gets on my nerve. I'm like, speak with a little bit more force. Instead of this, that drives me crazy. It's the whole Kim Kardashian thing.
Who's Kim Kardashian? What?
Kim K. Vocal fry.
I've never heard her.
Pete Davidson's girlfriend.
I know who she is. I've never heard her speak.
They got vocal fries. That's what they were known for.
What's a vocal fry?
He just told you.
I know. He said a vocal fry, but I mean,
I don't want to do that.
Oh.
I don't want to go over that.
That's a Valley Girl.
Yes.
Perfect example.
Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you.
Becky!
Oh my God. But it's like they start off and they go back. Like you're just. I don't know what. Yeah.
Well, you're winding down.
You're winding it down, but don't. It's annoying.
You should wind. Well, sometimes.
It is normal to do at the end of something that you're saying. But it's abnormal to just be doing it all the time. Right. So that's and that can lead to more troubles with your voice. Actually, voice disorders are something else that I work with. The more that you're doing that and not letting the vocal cords truly vibrate like they're supposed to, then you're more at risk for having troubles with your vocal cords.
We were going to have Enrique on so you could straighten him out and we could figure out what exactly is wrong with him.
You missed out. He couldn't. He's working.
I was really hoping Enrique would be here.
Yes, he's somebody when it comes to communication. That's what we should do is just our first YouTube video could just be diagnosing Enrique. We just have all the specialists that we've had on the show.
He does have a hard time getting his words out. But he does, and it's only on the podcast. Like if you talk to him when he's telling you a story in the car, he talks fine. But as soon as
say fine,
well, not fine, but it's worse when he's on the podcast and like he's trying to convey something,
right? Which is why we like having him on the podcast.
But I don't know that's not necessarily speech language pathology. That might be more cognitive, like. Yes, he's shaking his head.
I think it's a little more, it's potentially more psychological. I think he might just be a little nervous or something, maybe. If I were to venture to guess, maybe I'm wrong, right? But I think he could.
We intimidate
having
him
some large
with our
Chilean
greatness.
yell at him. I mean, come on.
Oh, whatever. You yell at him all the time.
Always berating the poor boy.
False.
I'm always being
you
like,
berate everyone.
I do not.
I'm surprised
How
I can
dare
speak.
you say such a thing?
See?
It's called projection. Our next guest is going to be a psychologist, so we get you lined out. I'm tired of you blaming everything on me, even though I am a toxic person.
You are very toxic.
Yeah, we know this. We know this. And what are you doing to fix it?
Nothing. I'm accepting it, and that's not good either.
No, you're enabling me.
I should break out of this relationship.
You are part of the problem, is what you're saying.
I'm contributing towards it.
That's what I'm hearing.
But together,
we are one.
We are.
It's like
we are an effective team.
I think yes. It's like that. What was that Captain
Oblivion.
Planet when they all put the rings together and then they summon? Or it's like more like the Transformers where they all combine and they become. Yes.
No, that's Voltron.
Voltron. That's what it is. Our codependent relationship is basically
Was
Voltron.
that Oblivion where they kept saying we are an effective team?
Yeah, that's Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
and the woman, I can't remember her name. I liked her a lot.
She got the red hair.
Mm-hmm. That's not helping.
She was also in one of the Hannibal Lecter movies. Julianne Moore. Is that her?
That wasn't Julianne Moore. I know Julianne Moore like the back of my hand. That was not Julianne Moore. I really like.
What's
Julianne
her top 3 movies?
Julianne Moore, Children of Men, Jurassic.
What a great movie, Children of Men.
Yeah. Children of Men is one of the greatest movies ever.
Is that the one with Clive Owen?
Clive Owens, yes.
That's like the most depressing. No. I'm thinking of the one with Viggo Mortensen. It's also
that's the Road.
Oh my God, that's a horrible movie.
That's a McCormick book.
Hardcastle of McCormick,
and that's something. Just remember McCormick. Think of the chicken. So Julianne Moore. So Children of Men, one of the greatest science fiction. She was also in Jurassic Park 2. That was great.
Oh wow, that's right. She was,
and she's been now here lately. She's just kind of been in random stuff. For instance, I think she was in the sequel to the one with the pseudo James Bond guys, Kingsman. She was like the bad guy in one of those. No. She was also been in a lot of romantic comedies, but Julianne Moore is an excellent actor.
Oh, when you type in Julianne, the first one that pulls up is Huff. That's a shame.
Huff?
She's the dancer.
Have you guys seen the movie Still Alice?
No.
It is on it's on my list though. Still Alice, yes.
Yeah, she does such a great job of depicting dementia actually. So she plays someone with Alzheimer's and it shows her kind of progressing through it. It's fascinating. She does a very good job of portraying it and accurately too.
She's been in some horror movies, been really good. But Julianne Moore.
Boogie Nights, apparently. Magnolia. Okay. She's been, I mean, I know who she is, but she's not somebody that stands out to me.
Well, I wonder why you don't like Julianne Moore.
She's not my favorite. You know what? I'll say it. I don't care for her. There, I said it. I've been walking on eggshells this whole time. I don't care for her.
Well, who do you care for?
Julianne Hough. I love her dancing.
Who's Julianne Hough?
I don't know. She's on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, I'm talking about actresses.
Jodie Foster.
You like Jodie Foster over Julianne Moore.
Jodie Foster is a good actress.
Name something Jodie Foster's done here lately.
Oh, so that's all that counts is what have you done for me lately?
What has she done?
I appreciate her works from when she was
Besides
young.
a really bad accent, what has she done?
Nell.
What?
Nell? Remember she was like raised in the woods?
Oh, come on. No, something.
Contact.
Oh, Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McCormick. Silence of the Lambs.
I know Silence of the Lambs, but that's the bad accent.
The one where she's in that protective room.
Panic room.
Get to the protective room. The other one where she's on the airplane.
Panic room I liked. You know why?
It's got Kristen Stewart in it.
No, it's got one of the greatest country singers that has ever
Dwight
lived.
Yoakam.
Dwight Yoakam. Everything Dwight Yoakam touches turns to gold. Panic room.
Midas.
The recent Clint Eastwood movie. Can't think of it now. The one where he went south of the border. Need I remind you, Billy Bob Thornton in Sling Blade with
That was a good one.
Dwight Yoakam. The only show that it bombed on, that Hollywood Homicide with Josh Hartnett and Harrison
Flight
Ford.
Plan. That's the airplane.
Flight Plan was awful. R.I.P. One of the few shows that
Elysium.
again, one of the few shows that Sean Bean didn't die in.
Shout out Jodie Foster because she's like one of the first ones I could think of.
Okay, well, it was okay.
Meryl Streep.
No, stop. Tyler, best actress, go.
Dame Judi Dench.
Viola Davis. Now she's an actor. She can act.
Yeah. Dadgummit. I should have said Viola Davis. You got me shoehorned me with Julianne Moore. You got me off topic. You got me excited about
You
Julianne
chose
Moore.
like the most random actress out there.
You chose her. You started talking trash about her.
I don't care for her.
Well, I don't know why you don't hear her.
Well, I just don't like her acting necessarily.
Her acting's wonderful.
It's subpar. Tyler, what have you been playing lately?
What have I been playing lately? Well, I've been playing some Marvel Champions. Lots of Marvel Champions. Favorite game ever. I mean, I play it all the time.
Explain to me the love for Marvel Champions. Because
I love... Yeah. You guys didn't like it, did you?
Well, now here's the thing.
I don't like it.
I'm not a Marvel fan at all.
I am.
Gabi really likes Marvel. Like he has Iron Man's glowing thing tattooed on one of his breasts.
You got Wolverine right behind you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man right above him.
Yeah, I'm a Marvel guy.
The theme doesn't catch me. I did appreciate how it worked, though. Like the actual overall game to me was fine. I just didn't understand what made it different and so enjoyable in comparison.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I just feel like it has a lot of the mechanics that I really like in a lot of other games too. I really like hand management games, and so the hand management in that game, just being able to, you got a hand of cards and being like, okay, I could use these cards this way, or I could do it this way, or I could I can use these three as resources and put this down because they're kind of multi-use. I love that aspect of it. I love the modularity of it. I love being able to play as the different heroes, and each hero's deck feels very different and very unique to them, and very true to their powers and everything.
Even though I didn't like it, I did find that having the little deck, which each hero has their own little weird event or bad guys or whatnot that kind of like only shows up in that deck. I thought that was a nice touch. There's a lot of nice things about Marvel Champions. I just didn't. I think the mechanic of deck building is something that I'm just not that. I just don't really like.
It's not a deck builder.
I know, but it's like,
well, deck construction. You mean right?
Right.
Like kind of building your decks like between and everything. I totally get that.
I don't know why, and I've tried to distill down why it is I love Star Wars Destiny so much. But everything else around that I should like, that are similar mechanics, I just don't like it. I just don't get it. I like building the decks out. I like having the characters. I like building my little my little set of cards and having this and feeling like I've created something almost thematic myself with these characters, I really enjoyed and really enjoy playing the game. My daughter just here recently got into Pokemon, which is an awful thing, by the way. And it's a deck builder. Build your cards, play a game.
Are you charging into Walmart at 5 o'clock in the morning with the rest of them?
I punched somebody.
Riding people, yeah.
You have to. It's part of it.
That's all part of the glory of the collection.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's only 3 people in Oklahoma that collect Pokemon cards. And so we're literally, the stores are filled with them. Nobody's fighting for them over here. I don't know what the deal is. You can go buy whatever you want in Walmart. But don't understand why I love Star Wars Destiny so much and why everything else I just can't quite get into. I'm trying to distill down into it.
Do you think it's because, do you not like variable player powers?
No, we do not.
I don't. And with Star Wars Destiny, there isn't a lot of that. Like, it's pretty well... I feel like when you won the game, you won because you took the time and played your deck the way it should have been played. You constructed a good deck. You can still lose with it, but you construct a good deck, you play it well, you're going to win. It's whereas I just don't get into games where the variable powers are just crazy and everybody's different. I don't find that appealing at all. And maybe that's it.
Do you have a setup for Marvel Champions that's like your favorite, like hero villain?
So my favorite heroes, I haven't explored a lot of villains yet. I mean, I've played 50 games of Marvel Champions almost, and I've only played against 2 villains so far, and I still have like 20 villains in the box. That's what's awesome about it, is how like modular and you can just play so many different games of it, right? My favorite hero so far, I like Ant-Man a lot. You can change size he has 2 different hero forms instead of just one hero form, because in Marvel Champions you flip between alter ego form and hero form. He has 2 hero forms. He has giant Ant-Man and tiny Ant-Man, and you can kind of activate different cards based on what hero form he's in. I also really like Captain America. He's one of the strongest heroes in the whole game, but in a way that doesn't necessarily break it. Like actually, Doctor Strange, he's recognized as being like one of the most like powerful heroes in it, but it's almost not fun to play as him because it's just too easy. You just completely dominate every time if you do things.
I may try him then.
Captain America is interesting because he's just roided out, isn't he? Like that's what his power is he's just taking DMT or something and he's roided in steroids, right? He's just roided out and he has a shield. He has a platinum.
He's very strong.
Titanium shield. He doesn't fly, right?
No.
He doesn't. What makes him super? Besides just being strong.
He's just an extraordinary human.
That's the thing. It's his mentality. He's a true like good person, and but obviously it's also because he has super soldier serum.
He's He's super nice.
What's the worst superhero ever? Captain America.
He's actually still stronger than any normal human.
So's the Hulk.
He can beat up Batman.
Hulk has the strength.
Batman versus Captain America. Captain America wins.
No, he would not.
Yeah, he would. He's also got super brain because he's a tactician.
Batman killed Superman.
It's because Superman, you just carry a green rock around. Oh.
So let me get this straight. Are you telling me that Captain America is, because I don't know about these heroes, is he bulletproof?
Clearly.
Is he bulletproof?
Neither is Batman.
I'm asking a question.
No, he's not. But his shield is. Just like Batman.
Oh, so he's never got shot in the knee.
I know.
It just keeps moving the shield rapidly.
Yes.
No, Batman would flat out leg.
You've got to be. Your ignorance is showing.
I'm just saying. It doesn't make sense.
Why would Batman defeat him?
Because Batman.
He doesn't have super strength, super speed, or super brain. I know he's smart.
He's the world's
Captain
greatest
America,
detective.
Oh, he's got the biggest magnifying glass.
Yeah, he is. He's the world's greatest detective.
Well, he couldn't figure out that riddle in The Batman.
Listen.
And it was just a Spanish word he didn't understand.
That was one of those things of like, if only I had listened to Rosetta Stone. It's like one guy could have got that.
Not quite yet the world's greatest detective.
He got bested by Paul Dano, who was an accountant. But No, I don't get it. Like, he literally, his superpower is he got put in a machine, he got put in a tanning bed.
You don't
and
know.
poured it out. And
he has
now
strength.
His superpowers are he's a really nice guy.
No, take Batman and make him stronger, faster, and smarter, and that's what the serum did.
Could you imagine they're like testing this, and they go, all right, we got this machine, we're going to make you a superhero, and you get out, and you're like, so what's the power? Well, look at your abs, they're slightly tauter, and you now you're just a nice person. Like,
he is. That's true.
You let other people. You put away your grocery cart.
While he's doing that, he also could defeat you with strategy.
You don't cheat on your taxes.
Meanwhile, nobody likes Bruce because he's over there too busy crying about his parents.
Do I have an outfit? Yes.
From 40 years ago.
It's the flag of Puerto Rico. Put that on. What about my weaponry? Do I have a gun? No. You actually have.
Now, are we going to talk about batarangs and grappling hooks?
This shield,
yeah, much better.
This shield that for some reason you can throw it as a weapon. Throw the shield if you get in trouble and run up to people and punch them. Please.
That's what the Batman did. The entire movie of the Batman.
No, Batman has.
He just walked up and punched people.
Batman
had a bulletproof suit on.
Batman, he got bulletproof suits. Yeah. So you can't.
You're making me like I don't like the Batman, and I really, really do.
Well, but
your stance is ridiculous.
You are anti-Julianne Moore, and you are anti-Batman, and I know it, and it's coming out. You are so pro this Captain America stuff.
He sold me with his niceness.
But
nice
that's
guy.
his power. Is he's
that's
nice?
not his power. It's part of his power.
Milady, he's got a little fedora. Will you please put that down?
Nary a puddle goes uncovered by Captain America.
He puts his shield down. Step over my shield. If somebody ever steals his shield, what's he going to do?
It's been stolen, and he still survives.
How?
He makes another shield.
How does he block the bullets? I can't leave the house right now.
He dodges them.
Who makes his shield?
In the movies, it was the Stark Industries.
So let me get this straight.
I think.
And the Wakandans with their vibranium, I think.
Oh, that's right. He has to rape Africa
with his new
shield. Material to make his shield.
No, they volunteered to give it to him.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Also, so there's that. All right, but Batman, who just makes his own stuff.
Oh, thanks to his dad stealing from the whole city of Gotham.
He's trying to support Gotham with various social services.
Tyler, what was the last game you played?
And now a hard merge into board games.
Last game that I played, well, besides Marvel Champions, was Seasons. Have you guys played the game Seasons?
I've never played Seasons.
I have Seasons, and it looks interesting. I know a lot of people liked it. I don't know why I don't. Is it dice placement?
Yeah, so it's a dice drafting game. It's a dice drafting, like tableau building game. It has kind of some people compare it to Magic the Gathering. I don't know why, but I don't really play Magic that much. But yeah, it's like a card drafting and dice drafting game. Very interesting. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's great. I was actually figuring out whether to keep it or not, whether to keep it or sell it on. And I actually found out I like the digital one better. I like the implementation on BGA better than having the actual board game.
There is one on BGA. We got to play on BGA. BGA's been.
You guys want to play a game? We should play it.
BGA's been tearing it up here lately.
I'm skipping number 4. I hate number 4. Describe a game by box art.
Let him describe a game by box art.
All right, fine.
Hey, all right. I got it.
This is the Bubba Top 5.
He says,
ready for this?
I hope you say there's some Marvel characters and they look like champions to me.
Yeah, so okay, all right. I got a game cover here. Let me see. Let me find
it's one we're familiar with. That's the key.
We're familiar with everything.
You'll know what this game is. And I think you'll know, you might be able to kind of know the cover.
Okay.
So I'm changing it. So I got a game right here. I'm going to look at it. Imagine, so it's very traditional European style art. The art style almost looks like art from like the face cards on a deck of cards, right?
Trois.
So imagine it is trois. Very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, I was about to ask if there's nudity.
I didn't even get to like talk about how it reminds me of like, imagine like like just European dudes with like the Pittsburgh Steelers color scheme.
Yeah.
Basically.
For someone had just posted on Instagram they were playing Trois, and that was at the top of my brain for some reason. What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, I go back and forth between a couple. One of them is The King's Speech. So you mentioned it earlier, Jerry. I have a stutter. I grew up stuttering. It's what got me into speech therapy, actually. And actually, it was more specifically when I saw The King's Speech and I walked out of the movie theater, because it came out like when I was a sophomore in college, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to, do for my job and everything. And I walked out of the theater and I'm like, I could be a speech therapist. And here I am. I don't work with kids that have a stutter. I don't work with anyone that has a, stutter really, but it's what got me toward the field. And so that movie too, I mean, Colin Firth is just great in it. So that's one of my favorite movies. And then my other favorite movie, lumping them together, is just Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings had such a profound influence just on like my childhood. And it came out when I was like 11, 12, 13, it was just right in my formative years. And I saw Return of the King like 10 times in theaters. I'm not kidding. I wish I was.
Is Lord of the Rings your Star Wars?
Yes.
I've never seen it. I think I watched like a few minutes of the first one.
That's because it's quite a commitment.
It is a commitment.
They're very good.
Not
They're
ready
very
for that.
long.
I'm not ready for it. I don't think. I feel like it's been.
Put a ring on it, Jerry.
There's been when people talk something up so much, like
how could it possibly be
it's going to fail. Like, it's not going to be the experience. And that's actually a psychological thing where, like, if you talk something up to somebody, it's never going to live up to the hype after a certain point. They're going to be disappointed. Whereas if you just kind of lowball it, they tend to be blown away.
But that's not necessarily true, because they were really talking up the Batman and you loved it.
Well, who knows? Well, I mean, they weren't talking up the Batman. I mean, but people weren't.
The reviews were rave.
I wasn't reading the reviews.
You knew it was going to be good.
No, I didn't know, because there's a lot of stuff that comes out. But you're just not sure. You're just not. They act like it's going to be great, and it's horrible. So I like to be pleasantly surprised. And I was.
What did you think of the Hobbit movies?
The Hobbit movies, so I saw the first two. I have not seen the third one. For whatever reason, I just have not seen it.
Everybody dies.
I like movies better than I think most people did. But I mean, obviously not enough to watch the third one. So
I like what's his face,
Poldark,
Martin Freeman,
Watson. Yeah, Martin Freeman. I really like
Poldark's in it too.
I don't know who that is. I don't watch that stuff.
Board game you want to see made into a movie?
So I was thinking about this one for a little while, and I think I kept coming back to Clank. I think that Clank has a very rich setting to it. And I think done as an action comedy, then it would be great. Like, not like a serious movie. It would
Clank in Space or the original Clank?
Probably original Clank, because then you could do Clank, and then you could have a Clank. And so like you could make a franchise out of this, right? Clank in Space, Clank Legacy.
Just like, basically it would be The Hobbit with the Italian Job merged together.
Yep.
They're going in there, stealing the riches from the dragon, and then they got to run out.
Be Mark Wahlberg.
Huh?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg and
I don't know.
Charlize
There's
Theron.
two, or the Michael Caine one, whichever one.
Michael Caine's too old.
I didn't say cast him in it. There's two Italian Job movies.
I know. I know, but I'm just saying he's too old to be in this.
I didn't say put him in it.
I'm saying Mark Wahlberg should be in it. Mark Wahlberg and Jason Statham, Charlize Theron.
How's your mother?
I already thought of a cast and everything for it. I'm thinking Chris Hemsworth as like the lead, right? But he's funny too.
He can lead me anywhere.
Chris Hemsworth, Melissa McCarthy, Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, so you are going comp.
And Daniel Radcliffe.
I don't think Tiffany Haddish is funny.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe is great, and he's a board gamer too.
I've never watched the man in Harry Potter. I know him from everything but Harry Potter. I love him in Swiss Army Man.
Tiffany Haddish was in some show on Peacock or something, and it was like all these comedians, and it's just not my type of humor.
Yeah.
What do you like her in?
I can't even tell you where I've seen her. I know that
you just named her randomly.
Like who she is, and I know that she's funny. I can't even tell you like what shows I've seen that she's on.
Haddish.
Tiffany Haddish.
She was on that show on Netflix recently. like a whodunit kind of murder show.
That's what I was talking about. I don't know what. I don't.
She's in the card counter. I've been wanting to watch that.
She was on an episode of Smartless too, and she just. This is what disappoints me. Comedians, I know they don't have to be on all the time, but you would at least expect them to be funny when they're on a talk show.
Agreed. I understand that.
And she just wasn't. But Ryan Reynolds, he was gold on Smartless. Cast Ryan Reynolds too. There you go.
He's the dragon.
He's always on. Put him in the movie. He'd be great.
Okay. Last question. Your favorite thing right now that you're enjoying?
I've been really liking a couple things. I've been more into baseball this year, just kind of watching baseball in general and following baseball more than I have in the last few years, because I'm a T-Mobile person and I got free access to like the MLB TV app and everything, so I can watch any out of market game. My hometown Minnesota Twins, I can watch them all the time, so that's sweet. Other than that, as far as like TV and stuff goes, I've been into a couple shows I've been watching recently. One's called MODOK. It's in the Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, I watched a few episodes
comedy.
of that. Yeah,
great, love it.
Patton Oswalt, Jerry's favorite comedian.
I love Patton Oswalt.
He's funny.
You not like him?
Stand Patton Oswalt. One of the listeners wrote in an email one time saying that Patton Oswalt was his favorite comedian, like all-time favorite comedian. I don't know how we got off on the subject, I guess, on the podcast. And the only comedian I think I've ever seen bomb on David Letterman was Patton Oswalt. And David Letterman crowd, like a wet cardboard box, could kill on that show. I went on this tear of trying to watch, like, find something funny of Patton Oswalt. And I have yet to find any stand-up show he's ever done has even made me chuckle.
He was good in Ratatouille.
No, he's not good in anything. Patton Oswalt is the least funny.
He's good in that one show where the guy from Sunny in Philadelphia is a teacher.
I was just going to say, that's actually the other show that I was going to mention. AP Bio. So good. I love that show.
AP Bio, yeah.
Larry is on it. He's really funny.
Write that down.
Let's see. What's our time? No, we're good. We got 52 minutes at this point. After editing out Jerry's long pauses, it'll be about 37 minutes.
Why are you shaming my voice?
I'm shaming your pause.
My pause because I think, like I said, something you should try occasionally. That way, be able to flow a little bit better.
Well, Tyler, thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening. Thanks for emailing.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome, you guys.
And Jerry, any last words before I do away with you?
What kind of threat's that?
Any last words for this episode of the podcast?
No, other than we'll be at BGG soon. This will
be out before then?
Yeah. So next week, the week after. Yeah. So there's something that you want us to play at BGG, leave us a little something. Send us an email. We'll let you know. We'll be coming at you live.
All right.
From BGG.
Live. We will not be live.
Bubba. Mike will be there. Enrique won't be. He'll be
in Belize. Or Brazil if he's
Nobody
lost.
knows where he's going. He'll be getting...
Okay. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.